Hello all, hope you're all doing well. Today let us try to solve a problem from quadratic equations. The problem is, if the roots of the equation a squared plus b squared x squared minus 2 into ac plus bd x plus c squared plus d squared equal to 0 are equal, then prove that a by b is equal to c by d. Now this is based on the nature of roots. Since the roots are equal here, we have the discriminant d will be 0. What is discriminant? It is nothing but b squared minus 4ac equal to 0 for the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c. A being the coefficient of x squared, b the coefficient of x, and c is the constant in the quadratic equation. I have used the capital letters a, b and c in order not to get confused with the alphabets given in the original problem. So in order to replace b squared minus 4ac in the standard form, we will try to compare the given equation with the standard form. So a squared plus b squared becomes a here. In place of b, we have minus of 2 into ac plus bd being the coefficient of x in the original equation, and the constant term is c squared plus d squared. So c is replaced by c squared plus d squared. So using b squared minus 4ac discriminant equating it to 0, we get minus 2 into ac plus bd the whole squared. This power 2 is for minus 2 also. This whole thing gets squared. Minus 4 into a squared plus b squared into c squared plus d squared equal to 0. Now expanding this minus 2 into ac plus bd the whole squared according to x plus y the whole squared identity, algebraic identity, we get for minus 2 the whole squared 4, and ac plus bd the whole squared becomes x squared plus y squared plus 2xy, that is a squared c squared plus b squared d squared plus 2ac bd, minus this 4 gets multiplied to the product of a squared plus b squared and c squared plus d squared. For that, we'll first find the product using the distributive property of these two expressions. So a squared c squared, a squared d squared, a squared getting multiplied to these two terms. Similarly, b squared getting multiplied to these two terms gives you b squared c squared plus b squared d squared equal to 0. Now expanding again using the distributive property of the terms inside that expanded form with 4. We have 4 into a squared c squared, 4 into b squared d squared, and 4 into 2 is 8 ac bd, and applying the same distributive property throughout for all the terms with 4, we got this expression. And then we will cancel out what are all there left out with the negative and positive sign, 4a squared c squared and 4a squared c squared, and 4b squared d squared minus 4b squared d squared getting cancelled. We are left out with 8ac bd minus 4a squared d squared minus 4b squared d squared equal to c squared equal to 0. Now we are going to make this as a whole squared form. So I am taking minus 4 outside the bracket, so that inside it will be minus 2ac bd, because that's a positive 8. So if we take negative 4, there should be negative 2 inside, and this minus is there in for these two terms. So we have to write plus inside the brackets, as already negative is taken out and 4 is also taken out. So a squared d squared plus b squared c squared equal to 0. So what we get in the next step is will be minus 4 into a squared d squared plus b squared c squared minus 2ac bd equal to 0. Now since minus 4 cannot be 0, we have to equate the second part of the product, a squared d squared plus b squared c squared minus 2ac bd equal to 0. Now we can rewrite this as the whole squared form of ad the whole squared, bc the whole squared minus 2 into ad into bc, which makes us to understand that this is the expanded form of x squared plus y squared minus 2xy, whose factorized form is x minus y the whole squared. X is identified as ad and y is identified as bc. So this expanded form can be factorized as ad minus bc the whole squared equal to 0, and hence since the squared is 0, the power 1 of ad minus bc also equal to 0. So which means that ad is equal to 0 plus bc, and hence ad is equal to bc, and By bringing b to the denominator part of the left hand side and d to the denominator part of the right hand side, we get the required proof a by b is equal to c by d. Hope this is useful to you. Thank you. Take care.